This is an excerpt from the Video Encyclopedia of Pool Practice, a 5-DVD series covering over 175 drills and challenges in 30 different categories. This clip is from Disc 4, which covers all of the topics shown here. This section focuses on the jump shot. If you don't have much experience with jumping the ball, this first drill will be very helpful. Jump shot technique is covered in detail on VEPP IV, and the VEPP resource page offers some good advice and demonstrations. You might want to review this material first, even if you do have some jump shot skill already. This is a progressive practice drill where you start with an easy shot and increase the difficulty level with each success. The goal is to jump through or over a gap between two obstacle balls, shooting the cue ball into the far corner pocket. Start with the obstacle balls one ball apart. The cue ball is about a diamond from the balls lined up straight to the pocket. Here, we don't need much jump height, so we can use a regular playing cue with only a small amount of cue elevation. With each success, close the gap a small amount. Now the gap is a little smaller than a ball diameter. Here's the same shot from the side. Notice how not much cue elevation is required for such a small jump height. Also note that Bob is aiming through the center of the cue ball. As the gap gets smaller, you will need to add more cue elevation to get more jump height. Notice how the cue is elevated a little more than it was with the previous gap size. Again, continue to narrow the gap with each success. Remember, in aiming jacked up shots, it can sometimes help to first estimate the elevated bridge position, bring the cue level to check the aim and make adjustments, and then elevate the cue. And don't forget to always check and focus on hitting the cue ball on its vertical center line, otherwise the cue ball will swerve offline. Even with the obstacle balls touching, we're still not jumping over a full ball. After you successfully jump over the closed gap, then jump over a full ball. Again, you will need more cue elevation to get more jump height. Notice that Bob just clears the ball here. To clear with a greater margin, he would need to elevate the cue more and/or use a jump cue. Here's a good drill to work on higher cue elevations required when the obstacle and object ball are closer to the cue ball. The goal of this drill is to jump over a full ball and pocket the hanger in the corner. Start out with the cue ball close to the rail to make it easier to create an elevated bridge. And start with the obstacle ball positioned 4 to 5 balls from the cue ball. For this drill, we're using a jump cue, which makes jumping much easier. Bob is morally opposed to jump cues with phenolic tips, so I had to shoot these. I'm also much taller than Bob, making it much easier to jack up the cue. Here, we need to elevate more than with the previous drill to get the cue ball up and over the obstacle over a short distance. We don't want the cue ball to still be hopping when it reaches the object ball, because this can cause one or both of the balls to jump off the table, which is a foul. Remember to keep your bridge stable and still, keep your grip very light, and stay on the vertical center line of the cue ball. As long as the cue is not elevated too much, most people will prefer a standard underhand stroke. I landed that a little long, but the cue ball still had enough distance to settle before hitting the object ball. After each success, advance the obstacle ball about a ball closer to the cue ball. And be sure you chalk the tip before each shot. As the obstacle ball gets closer to the cue ball, you will need to elevate the cue more to get the cue ball up and over soon enough. With higher cue elevations, you might find an overhand dart stroke more comfortable and effective. Again, keep your grip as light as possible during the entire stroke. With the dart stroke, the wrist provides much of the shot action. With higher cue elevations, you need to be careful to not jam the cue ball into the table. Instead of aiming through the center of the ball, aim slightly below at the resting point on the cloth, or even lower if necessary. And don't be afraid to drive the cue into the table. See the VEPP resource page for more technique advice. If you can jump over a ball less than a ball width away, you're doing quite well, but this takes some practice to be accurate and consistent. After you master the drill with the bridge on the rail, place the cue ball and object ball away from the rail where you will need to bridge on the table instead. This makes the drill more difficult because you will have less stroke length available and will need to accelerate the cue more quickly over the shorter distance. Again, make sure your bridge is as stable and still as possible during the entire shot. For more information on the entire VEPP series, visit dr-dave-billiards.com. There, you can view video highlights and complete lists of drills from all 5 discs. You can also find information about the Video Encyclopedia of Pool Shots series. If you haven't seen the entire VEPPs series yet, you should check it out. The Pool Shots series complements the Pool Practice series quite well.